SCP-096. That SCP number alone should strike fear into the hearts of the most hardened SCP scientists and fans. SCP-096. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-096 is to be contained in its cell, a 5 meters by 5 meters by 5 meters airtight steel cube at all times. Weekly checks for any cracks and holes are mandatory. There are to be absolutely no video surveillance or optical tools of any kind inside 096's cell. Security personnel will use pre-installed pressure sensors and laser detectors to ensure 096's presence inside the cell. Any and all photos, videos, or recordings of 096's likeness are strictly forbidden without approval from Dr. Redacted and O5 Redacted. Description: SCP-096 is a humanoid creature measuring approximately 2.8 meters in height. Subject shows very little muscle mass, with a preliminary analysis of the body mass suggesting mild malnutrition. Arms are grossly out of proportion with the rest of the subject's body, with an approximate length of 1.5 meters each. Skin is mostly devoid of pigmentations, with no sign of any body hair. SCP-096's jaw can open up to 4 times of the norm of your average human. Other facial features remain similar to your average dude, with the exception of the eyes, which are also devoid of any pigmentation. It is not known whenever SCP-096 is blind or not. It shows no signs of any higher brain functions and is not considered to have any sapience. SCP-096 is normally extremely docile, with pressure sensors indicate its side cell indicating it spends most of its day pacing by the eastern wall. However, when somebody views SCP-096's face, whenever it be directly via video recording or even a photograph, it will enter a stage of considerable emotional distress. SCP-096 will cover its face with its hands and begin screaming, crying, and babbling incoherently. Approximately 1 or 2 to 2 minutes after the first viewing, SCP-096 will begin running to the person who viewed its face, who will from this point be referred to as SCP-096-1. Documented speeds has varied from 35 kilometers to redacted kilometers, and seems to depend on the distance from the person who viewed its face. At this point, no known material or method can stop SCP-096's progress. The actual position of SCP-096 does not seem to affect 096's response. It seems to have an innate sense of SCP-096-1's location. Note: this reaction does not occur when viewing artistic depictions. See Document 096-1. Let's see. Documentation 096-1 of Experiment 096-1. Experiment 096-1 is headed by Dr. Dan. Purpose is to test SCP-096's abilities while obtaining a complete physical description of SCP-096. D9031 is a 32-year-old convicted felon and a former tattoo artist. D9031 is placed inside a Bathysphere 303A and then lowered in the Tonga Trench off the coast of New Zealand. Position is approximately redacted kilometers from SCP-096's temporary containment at site redacted. The following was recorded via video surveillance inside the whatever thingamajig between it and Dr. Dan's control site on the New Zealand mainland. Bathysphere 303-A reaches a final depth of 10,800 meters. D903 says, "It stopped. What now?" Dr. Dan: "Do your ears feel fine? No sickness? Anything?" The Class D. I'm just going to refer to him as the Class D for easier purposes. "My ears hurt." Dr. Dan: "That should be expected. Now, on your left should be a steel container. Open it, and there will be a manila folder holding several photographs. Open it and describe the first photograph, please." The Class D complies. The camera is located so the photograph cannot be seen. Nothing. It's just an empty cell. Thank you. Please set this photograph face down in the receptacle to your right and look at the next photograph. It's the same cell, but there's a foot in it, I think. Describe it, please. It's pale and bony. Sort of creepy, actually. Sorry, I forgot to list their names. Dr. Dan. Place the photograph in the receptacle, face down, and look at the next one. The Class D. Okay. Oh. Dr. Dan. Describe the photograph. I don't know. Oh, it's some weird person, the Class D says. Describe the photograph, please, the doctor says. Hell, man, he's pale, has white eyes, and something creepy is happening with his mouth. What the heck is this thing? The Class D nervously yells. At this point, approximately 13:32 Standard Time, Dr. Dan and Experiment Control is notified that SCP-096 has breached containment. The fastest path to SCP-096-1 has been cleared of civilians and other image-capturing devices. SCP-096 is now being tracked by satellites via tracking collar. Dr. Dan, on your right, there should be another steel container. Open it. And, SCP-096-1, aka the Class D. It's a pad of paper and pencil. Dr. Dan, yes. Please draw a sketch of the photograph you saw. The Class D mumbles and bad word and spends the last 20 minutes drawing a sketch of the photograph. At the time of completion, SCP-096 is confirmed to be a redacted KM away from SCP-096-1. The Class D says, I'm done. Dr. Dan replies with, good. Place the drawing in the receptacle to your left and close the door. The Class D complies, and the sketch leaves the Bathysphere 303A in a watertight buoyancy container. The other photographs are then incinerated in the onboard incinerator. The Class D replies, what by? Dr. Dan says, what now? Dr. Dan says, please stand by. 40 minutes pass. SCP-096 is now confirmed to be at SCP-096-1's position and is diving. Transponder signal ends at 9339 meters as the pressure goes beyond the device's operational limits. The camera shows the bathysphere shaken slightly. From SCP-096-1's reaction, it is assumed SCP-096 is on the whole invisible through the viewpoint. Oh shoot, what the heck is that? Video and audio feed is cut from the whole of the Bathysphere 300A is breached. SCP-096 is recovered by a recovery team Foxtrot 303A without incident. Sketch of SCP-096 is also recovered, and a quick test confirms no hostile reaction from SCP-096. Sketch is sent to experimental control on New Zealand, while SCP-096 is moved to permanent containment. Now, let's go back to SCP-096. Boop, boop. Okay, now, upon arriving at SCP-096-1's location, SCP-096 will proceed to kill and data expunged SCP-096-1. 100% of cases have left no traces of SCP-096-1. SCP-096 will then sit down for several minutes before regaining its composure and becoming docile once again. It will then attempt to make its way back to its natural habitat. Data redacted due to the possibility of a mass chain reaction, including the breach of Foundation secrecy and a large civilian loss of life. Retrieval of subject should be considered a alpha level priority. Dr. Stupid advertisement. Dr. Blah 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 has also petitioned for immediate termination of SCP-096. Termination order has been approved and is to be carried out by Doctor on data reacted. See Incident 096-1A. And it is pre-forward, whatever. So containment has been attained. Yes, Doctor. Let me see the security footage. Now, begin log. A large steel cube is to be shown in the middle of a research lab, which is teeming with dozens or so researchers. In view of the camera is a control booth, displaying readings from the various sensors inside the cube. Fast forward 1 minute, 32 seconds. The control booth operator leans forward, alerted to the various readings on the center. Approximately 5 seconds later, a steel wall in the containment receives a sizable dent bending outward. The dent becomes larger before breaking. SCP-096 is seen bending the steel away, frantically trying to escape. Emergency plates drop on the cube, and as a containment breach is sounded. The security tape has SCP-096's face blurred out as per containment protocol. Two security teams enter the room as 096 breaks out of containment. Live rounds and tranquilizer darts are fired to no visible effect. Approximately 90% of the researchers and security personnel have directly viewed 096's face, and a code Lima is declared. The room and the surrounding areas are sealed and flushed with a redacted class nerve agent. Approximately 2 minutes later, SCP-096 breaches research site and travels km through the outside desert, traveling redacted. Echo Romeo was assigned to the immediate Echo Romeo was assigned to the immediate containment breach. We just realized how big of a breach we were just dealing with, and we were completely overwhelmed. Funny how even the best and brightest minds in the world can be so unprepared. Oh, you have no idea. Just talk about SCP-682. I will do a video about that probably someday. So, you are saying that it's your own fault? Absolutely not. This was a new discovery in SCP-096's behavior. We had no way to know, and we are lucky it did not turn into an XK end of the world scenario. Begin blob. Helm cam footage from ER1. Footage from inside UH-60 shows SCP-096 on the desert floor, moving at a considerable speed. ERA. This is Romeo Actual. We have visual of the target. Unintelligible dialogue. At data reacted. Knots and increasing. ERA. Echo Romeo Actual listens to the radio as orders identified as coming from Dr. Dan are relayed. SCP-096 can be seen slowly gaining speed. ERA motions off camera. ER3 appears holding a modified XM500 anti-material. Is that how it's spelled? Rifle. 2 shots are fired. The first misses and the second one hits SCP-096's lower leg. SCP-096 stumbles but recovered. Speed change insignificant. ERA. Unintelligible. P. No effect on target. ERA motions to ER3 again. ER3 fires 3 more shots. The first 2 miss, and the third one hits SCP-096 in the head. SCP-096 falls, skids, and rolls several times, reducing its speed minimally. SCP-096 rolls to its feet and continues unabated. Camera pans to see 8 V-22 Ospreys belonging to NTF TA-1 flying overhead and past the helicopters on the same outbound vector as SCP-096. Camera cuts out. End log. Begin log. Video interview log 096-1A. Dr. Okalexi appears calm, determined, and answers all the questions slowly and deliberately. Where were you exactly at the time of the breach? On break, getting a cup of coffee, the doctor says. It was pure luck I wasn't caught in the containment area. The interviewer replies with, describe your actions directly after the containment breach. The doctor casually replies with, I sent Echo Romeo after SCP-096 and alerted Dr. Dan to the situation. We then set up the task of locating that very same SCP. Once the general direction of SCP-096 was determined, I sent all Mobile Task Force TA-1 ahead to evacuate civilian population centers in SCP-096's path. All according to containment protocol. End log. Begin log. Video interview log 096B. Dr. Daniel Dan sits patiently. On the table in front of him is what looks like to be a set of modified night vision goggles. Interviewer says, for the record, where were you exactly during SCP-096's containment breach? Dr. Dan says, in the data expunged mountain range. Trying to find more information on SCP-096's origins. It was a quick research expedition, so I left Dr. Okalexi in charge of containment. He's competent enough, if a bit eager, and has proved himself in the past. This is all confirmed by the various related paperwork. So don't go thinking. The interviewer interrupts him, saying, it was just for the record, Doctor. Now, knowing that SCP-096 is immune to all known forms of damage while in a rage, say, why would you order the sniper attacks from the emergency response team? Dr. Dan says, "Why not? If there was a chance to slow down SCP-096 and give MTF Tau 1 more time, then we had to try it. It put ER in no dangers, and the top choppers were in danger of being outrun anyways. Honestly, ER could do little to help or harm the situation." "I see. Now could you explain this?" Interviewer motions to the goggles lying on the table. "Yes, this is Project Scramble, an eyepiece we assigned to ER and MTF Tau 1. Designed by Dr. Okolexi and myself specifically for SCP-096. It carries a small microprocessor which constantly analyzes the viewing feed for the facial features of SCP-096. Facial recognition software inside instantly identifies them, scrambling the image into an unrecognizable mess before the light reaches a human eye. It's quite ingenious, really." Interviewer replies with, "And expensive." Dr. Dan, "Very. Which is why it's such a shame it didn't work." End log. Begin log. A audio transcript between NTF Ta 1 and a modified EG Free Century AWACS. Call sign, Big Brother. MTF T1, Ospreys in the air. Moving data expunge at data expunge. Awaiting vector. Big Brother says, electronics online. Cruising at altitude reach. Uploading program scramble to all camera systems. Cameras online, Big Brother is now watching. MTF-T1, what outbound vector is the target currently heading? Big Brother replies, target is currently westbound, traveling on, I think he's on the I-40. I think he just flipped a semi. Outbound vector is data expunged, disease by degrees by data expunged. Next town on the vector is data expunged. I'd like to say 100 kilometers. MTF, we're suggesting Echo Romeo begin evacuating the I-40. I don't know how many cars the target has wrecked. Hold one, that's a negative, Big Brother. ER is reporting the target is outrunning her choppers. They can't get ahead of him. Big Brother, then we have to stop the motorists on the other lane. I don't know how many people have seen this thing face. The first three elements of Ta 1 succeeded in gathering the townsfolk in the first three towns without incident. SCP-041 was not SCP-096 was confirmed to not be in any of these when SCP-096 ran through in each turn without stopping. However, a video log shows 096 being identified in the town of data expunged and the ensuing incident. Show it. Begin log. Helm cam footage from Element 4 of MTF Tau 1, the town of data expunged. Most of the townspeople are gathered in the square and blindfolded. Helicopters sweep the town. Instinct orders are heard over from the loudspeakers from both the helicopters and ground personnel. MTF T1, over Talcom radio and loudspeakers. The target is entering proximity zones. All units must activate their scramble gear and begin crowd control procedures. All civilians are not to move from their spot or remove the blindfolds. If you move or touch your blindfold, you will be shot. I repeat, all civilians are. Orders are drowned out by a loud shriek coming from outside the camera's view. Approximately 2 kilometers away, SCP-096 is seen to be coming over the crest of the hills. It tries to slow down on the descent, but trips and tumbles down at high speed, crashing through several houses before regaining its footing almost without delay. Unknown voice over loudspeakers. Unintelligible. Civilians are not to be moved. You'll be shot. I repeat, unintelligible. Several shots are heard, none of which directed at SCP-096. SCP-096 stops for 1 second before running into the crowd of townsfolk, following many inside and trampling more. More shots are heard as the crowd begins dispersing. The loudspeaker is intelligible under the vocalizations of SCP-096. SCP-096 locates SCP-096-1, a middle-aged man, and the camera views him grabbing him before it's hit by a fleeting townsperson and dislocated from the helmet. End log. Begin log. Video interview log SCP-096-1C. Major Jack Wilford, current commander of NTF Ta 1. I was looking through SCP-096's house with my squad. Poor man was a semi-pro mountaineer. Took a trip through the mountains. Apparently, he took a snapshot of the landscape and just happened to catch SCP-096 in the background. Wilford holds up 4 fingers for emphasis. 4 pixels. 4 freaking pixels. I doubt the guy even knew what he saw. He was probably just looking at the picture one day and noticed the off-color patch of snow and went on with his day. How do you find it? Our scramble gear picked it up right away. The lieutenant got a picture and took it down to the chopper before I ever got to see it. By then, the damn monster had been taken down, Big Brother, and it peeled open the former Major Striker. All hell was breaking loose. Interviewer. So the scramble gear was ineffective? Ineffective? Woodford says. The goddamn scramble were pieces of shot that killed the whole task force. You know, only 3 people are alive besides me. All because some egghead fought the state-of-the-art countermeasure to SCP-096's hostile reaction. Those bloody idiots could have just put a bag over the target's head and be done with it, but no, we had to use the state-of-the-art scramble. End log. Picture secured by MTF TAW 1. SCP-09 circled and yellow blocked out. Dr. Dan, what did that dude call me? Dr. Dan pushes back from the table and begins standing up. Dr. Dan, also that expletive deleted. What the egghead after a bash opened his interview began shouting and cursing. 2 guards entered the room and pushed Dr. Dan back into the seat. Interview. Do we need to administer a sedative, doctor? Dr. Dan takes a breath and smooths his coat. No, I apologize. Scramble was really an ingenious idea. However, it was a failure because we did not know how SCP-096 worked. You see, as the chip inside Scramble picked up SCP-096's facial features and began scrambling them, there was a split second of interrupted light flow to the retina. Computers are fast, but not as fast as light. So there was a split-second image of SCP-096's direct face sent to the brain. It wasn't even consciously received, but apparently is enough to trigger a reaction of 096. Interviewer. So a report was of the photograph. Dr. Dan, that's the most disturbing part of this whole incident. You know, when the former 096-1 went on his mountain trip, 1990, that's years before this photo was hanging there before he saw 096. But the brain doesn't even need to be aware that's viewing 096's face to trigger the reaction. They're going to be taking time bombs hidden just anywhere in the world. How many photographs are out there containing that thing, going unnoticed, waiting for careful eyes? As I said before, I want this thing terminated. Now. End log. Just a quick question, Doctor. What exactly were you planning on doing there? Major Jack Wilford was a top-notch SBS when we recruited him. I was also a recon corpsman, sir. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. Sir. And I was deployed for the Caucasus. Marines beat at SBS. No, they don't. Enough, both of you. Moving on. Begin log. Video interview 096-D. 096-1-D. Chief Master Sergeant. Door gunner under Echo Romeo. I got the bag over its head. Interviewer. Yes, you told me that. Could you tell me exactly what transpired? It was... Dunfall, it was sitting there in the highway. Just got done ripping open a minivan, and I'm west landed the chopper. It got out, bagged it. I put the bag over its head. It got calm, and they took it. So the victims in a minivan were the last to see its face. Hello? The interviewee remained silent for the remainder of the interview and was released. He was later found in his bunk room going to sleep, and he didn't wake up. Okay, anyways, next video log 096-D, confiscated tape from news broadcast CCN. The image shows first responders surrounding the remains of a crashed plane over the shoulder of a field reporter. The plane, which seems to be military in origin, has no outward marking or designating it as part of the U.S. military. While first responders looked for a black box recording, it was thought by the police that the plane crashed due to massive cabin breach, both the cockpit and fuselage. The reporter motions to a large hole in the side of the plane, which several firefighters are complaining inside. Paramedics have only found 3 bodies, which is odd for a plane requiring a crew around 20 men. Police has suggested the reporter is cut as 3 Super Stallions are shown hovering overhead, 2 of which land and begun unloading troops of MTF Elliptian. Shut off the camera, shut it off, end log. Begin log, Dr. Olowski. So are we finished here? Interviewer, one last question, doctor, or statement, as it seemed. We find it interesting that no one was in the break room in research site. There is no break room at research site or coffee. Interview, we remain silent. We think it's best if you begin talking. Remainder of the video is redacted. End log. I don't see what this has to do with me. There's no reason to play dumb, doctor. He told us everything. Well, I guess there's no use feigning everything, is there? 051, audio recording, 05 hearing. Upon reviewing your testimony and available footage, and confession of the late Dr. Alok, it is an unanimous agreement of 05 that you are to be terminated for your part in the gross breach of SCP-096. And I thought you would know the meaning for the greater good, the doctor claims. Do not try my patience, doctor. Given the incident's scope and potential, the O5 have approved your request of the termination for 096. Given the lack of personnel understanding of it, the termination will be entrusted to you under heavy guard and personal supervision of me. Your own termination will be scheduled at a later date. End log. That is horrible, doctor. How could you know it worked? There's only a matter of time until in a major population center and its face spread over the world news. I can kill 096, but I've killed myself in the process. Now, back to 096. Audio log from interview 096-1. Interviewer, Dr. Interviewed, Captain retired. Former commander of Retrieval Team Zulu 9A. Retrieval Incident 096-1A. Begin log. Captain, it always sucks to get initial retrieval duty. You have no idea what that dang thing is capable of besides jacked up information the field techies can scrape up. If you're lucky, if they don't even tell you, if they tell you the whole story. They told us the bag and tag, didn't tell us anything about not looking at it. Could you describe the mission, please? Yeah, sorry. We had 2 chapters, one with my team and one on backup with Zulu 9B and Doctor. We spotted the target about 2 clicks north of our patrol path, and I'm guessing he wasn't facing our direction, or else he would have taken us out there and then. Your report says SCP-096 didn't react to cold. It was Celsius. Actually, it was Celsius. And yes, it was butt naked and didn't so as much shiver. Anyways, we landed, approached the target, and Corporal got ready to bag it. That's when Doctor called. I turned to answer it, and that's what saved me. The target must have turned, and my whole squad must have seen it. That's when SCP-096 entered an agitated emotional state. Yep. Sorry, got the whiz for a second. That's alright. Yeah, well, ugh.
Yeah, well, I never saw his face. The squad did. Yeah. He started screaming at us and crying. Not animal roaring, though. Sounded exactly like a person.
Alright, that's enough of that. Okay. Really creepy. Pauses again. We started firing up at Corporal when it picked up Corporal and ripped off his leg. God. He was screaming for help. Ugh. Anyways, we're blowing chunks off of the target round after round. Didn't do a thing. I almost lost it when it started him. That's when he ordered the use of a papers are heard moving AT-4 headed launcher and anti-tank gun. Started carrying it ever since SCP Redacted got loosed. I've seen those tear through tanks like tissue paper. Did the same thing to the target. There's significant damage to 096. It didn't even flinch. It kept tearing apart my squad, and with half of its torso gone, he charged a large half circle across his torso. But it was taking damage. If it wasn't showing it. It must have lost all its organs, all its blood, but didn't acknowledge any of it. Its bone structure wasn't hurt, though, and I kept tearing my squad apart. So no actual structural damage. How many rounds would you say you fired at 096? At least 1,000. Our door gunner kept his GA-19 on it for at least 20 seconds. 20 seconds. That's 600.50 caliber rounds pumped into that thing. Might as well have been spitting at it. That's when Zulu 9B arrived? Yeah, my squad was gone. Zulu 9B managed to get the bag over its head and just sat down. We got into the chopper when it got here. I never saw its face. Maybe it was just a miracle. Ugh. I'm an atheist. We've attained a artist's depictions of 096's face. Would you like to view it? After hearing that thing scream and the scream of amends, I don't think I want to put a face to my hurt. No. Just no. Alright, I believe we're done here. Thank you, Captain. Chairs are heard moving and footsteps leave the room. Captain retired is confirmed to left the room. Let this be on record that I am formally requesting 096 to be terminated as soon as possible. And that here was 096, the shy guy. How do you think you can terminate him? Comment below. And no cheats, no alternate dimensions. By using some sort of weapon, it cannot be anything anomalous. Can it be like it would have to be a gun, some knowledge, it cannot be anomalous. Type in the comments what you think and subscribe.